Welcome to a new video. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. The first story is called Get Coffee for Everyone. Many years ago, 1982, I was working as an engineer for a large company. I had just moved to a new organization within the company. I didn't realize it when I interviewed for the position, but the person I was assigned to work under hated young engineers that got there via a college degree. And he hated women in the workplace. At the end of the first week, there was a staff meeting for everyone in the department. As I walked in, the boss turned to me and said, "Go get coffee for everyone." I saw red, but then had an idea. I headed to the break room, not even taking time to put my notebook and pens down. I picked up a full pot of coffee, a stack of cups, huge handfuls of creamer and sugar, and a bunch of stir sticks. Obviously, I was totally laden down with it all. When I got back to the conference room, I tripped. I dropped the full pot of coffee onto the table. I thought it would just spill, but it shattered and spewed hot coffee everywhere. I then stated very apologetically, "Oh no, I'm such a klutz." It's probably why I went into something that would use my brain rather than my physical abilities. I'm so sorry. For some reason I was never asked to get coffee again. The next story is called She Didn't Use Common Sense. I worked a full-time shift work job where we changed between two positions based on the day and hours. If we were rostered on Monday to Friday, 6 to 18, we were at one position. Weekends, night shifts, 18 to 6, and public holidays, we were at the other. We received weekly rosters to show where we were working, and the company faced heavy fines if a position was unmanned. I knew a public holiday was coming up, but the roster had me on the regular Monday to Friday position. I approached my manager and explained, who said she would check it out. I was told by our head office that I would be the manager when the old manager quit. While I was on holiday, they hired this girl who had zero experience as a manager or on the side, where I had been on the side for 8 years and had been the assistant manager, so I was not inclined to put myself out to cover her or the company. When I came in for my next shift, I found a note from her to just follow the roster, even though it was wrong. But sure thing, boss. I spent 12 hours watching movies and doing absolutely nothing at 2.5 times pay. I literally took my shoes off and spent the day with my feet up on the desk. The company got a minimum 10k fine for not having the other position manned. And the manager got blasted for not using common sense. The third story is called Ticketing Compliance. I work for a large company that, like many others, tracks IT issues by tickets. Some time back we had some major system issues. The system was unstable for many days, data was disappearing and such. We didn't get immediate help and raised hell about it because these issues cost us real money. We were told they measure the significance of the problem by the number of tickets opened. I asked specifically, what if the system is down for everyone? Can't I, one of the managers, just put in a ticket and call to have it escalated? The answer was no. As a ticket system emails the appropriate people in IT and all management in my department. So when you open a ticket, everyone in management is notified. You see where this is going. We had a major system issue a few weeks later, and we had an issue with every customer at once. I opened Word and created a document with the basic problem. Then I grabbed a list of all the customers I could get quickly, so only about 30. In rapid fire fashion, using copy and paste, I opened 30 tickets in 30 minutes. About 20 minutes into this, management was being spammed with emails, as was IT. My messages are lighting up and blinking with messages from coworkers, not IT. Messages like "enough" and "we get the point" and "are you having fun yet" and "can you stop now?" But nothing about acknowledging the severity of the issue. So I kept going. At 30 minutes my boss called me and told me he thinks I made my point. I agree. The issue got rather quickly resolved and we now have a new procedure. For serious problems where we have a large impact, I can open my ticket and send a few examples to an assigned IT liaison who can give it a look over for severity. I usually have an answer in 60 seconds about how they are going to escalate. The next story is called You Told Me to Come Right Back. I was working at yet another soulless call center. Through years of bad ideas, I had a broken tooth that was no longer serviceable. I could no longer adhere that over-the-counter toothpaste to it, let it dry and pretend I didn't notice it. It hurt. My face was swollen. I'm pretty sure my breath was fetid. I was trying to move from slacker to adult, so I made an appointment to get it pulled. I was salary and regularly worked weird schedules. But I still gave a heads up to the brand new shiny directory and HR goon and my supervisor that I was going in for an emergency tooth removal and would be gone for part of the day. My boss? No worries or concerns. He knew I would come in for whatever, whenever. The new director? Not so much. She didn't like me because somebody told her I wasn't nice and punched puppies or some other nonsense. You can go on your lunch to do whatever you want, but come right back to the office. That wasn't going to happen. She wasn't in my chain of command and I only told her out of courtesy. My boss knew I was out. She could be mad. This all changed while I sat in that not too comfy chair, already stepped in the gums a half dozen times to numb up. The nice front counter lady came in to tell me I didn't have dental insurance. I laughed, explained of course I did, and validated all of my information. She asked to speak to me alone. Apparently my company had charged me for my insurance but never paid the insurance company. Even better, the company had done this for every employee on this plan, for a while. But screw it, I have the cash, pay for the procedure right then. A little over an hour later, a small bit of beard missing from clam sketching in it, stitches in my gums they had to cut, tooth gone, and ready to go back to work and ask some questions. After all, they wanted me to come right back, right? I don't even clean up. I walk right into the nice HR person's office and hand him my receipt and I explain what happened. He calls the director in and starts making calls. The director asks, "Why are you here looking like that?" "Go clean up." "You said to come right back." "You are a health hazard." "If only I had dental insurance, eh?" "Of course we have insurance." "Why would you walk in here like that?" "You said to come right back." This circular exchange lasted about 10 minutes. The HR dude needed me to make copies of the receipt. I walked to the furthest possible printer, making sure that enough people saw me. They asked what was up. I told everyone what was going on with the insurance. Emails started. Calls started. People were very unimpressed. I get back to the HR office. He's ready to make sure I get reimbursed on the next check, back pay for the insurance I've paid that I didn't have insurance for. And then he said, "Okay, well, go ahead and head out. You can use my door out. Don't tell anyone about what's going on." Too late. I've told at least 10 people. Why would you do that? Well, you did tell me to come right back. We all got reimbursed. The company put out a big apology memo about pizza because that's what call centers do, and the HR had a lot to explain. The last story is called Only 1 Hour's Work. A few years ago, I was teaching at a university in the UK as a grad student. They switched up their payment system for teaching seminars. The previous system had been that we prepped the seminar, taught the seminar, and were paid for the time it took to do both. We were expected to not be fraudulent in our timesheets and received a decent level of pay for the work we did. That rate of pay was pretty cheap compared to faculty, and we often created our own course content, updated old courses, and so on. Quite a few of us actually shortchanged ourselves because while we did the reading, we weren't expected to and didn't feel right charging for it. Then they changed the system. The university was losing money paying us and our feedback wasn't top notch. And it wasn't going to be. We only had a morning of training before teaching seminars. HR gathered us in a room and told us all that we would now be paid for 1 hour of prep for every unique hour of the seminar. And our pay was dropping to £13 an hour. I stuck my hand up and asked, "So if we've prepped for an hour, we should stop prepping and then just teach what we've got?" They conferred at the front of the room and hesitantly replied, "Yes, I suppose that is what we are saying." The next day we had an email sent around by HR. All faculty would now be required to give us sufficient teaching notes so that we would take an hour maximum to prepare for an hour's seminar. Obviously that didn't happen. In one of the first seminar series I taught under the new structure, my guidance consisted of a brief conversation and passing in the hallway. Without that, I doubt I would have had anything. So a new term starts with new students. The first seminar rolls around. I get through 20 minutes, run out of material, inform the students of the new payment ruling and say they can either grab a coffee with me or they can leave. The same thing happened in all of my other seminars that week. It's probably worth mentioning at this point that my seminars were not part of the exam material, they were to help with coursework. In the vacated 40 or so minutes of each seminar, I did discuss coursework with the students who stuck around, so I was making sure they weren't losing out. After all, this wasn't their fault and they shouldn't lose out. After my first round of seminars, I think I taught about 60% of the department students. Some of them found it amusing, some found it irksome, none complained directly to me about my teaching. I had made it very clear to them who to contact, and they did. I got called into the office, got asked to explain myself. I did, and they told me I wasn't going to do it again the next week. I asked for more money to reflect the work I would be doing. They said they would review it. But they didn't get back to me before the next round of seminars. So I did the same thing. This repeated for about 6 or 7 rounds of seminars. Each time the students grew progressively and unexpectedly agitated. Then someone went to a national newspaper. An article was published, profiled a couple of different people, quoted me anonymously a few times, a private survey that I responded to, and we all were emailed by HR. There would be no changes, they said. We were all to read a blog they had written, they said. We would all be switched to less secure contracts next year, they said, with a temp agency. We were expected to prepare fully for the hour of teaching we were paid to do, and they anticipated that it would take an hour to prepare for an hour. They would take no questions. Every single one of my students that term got a 2.1 or higher on the coursework. I won a couple of teaching awards from students, not faculty. And I finished the term dead shaft with how my students did. I wasn't offered any teaching the next term. Nor were the people who had spoken to the newspaper or anyone else who had taken the same line that I did. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye bye.